Hey guys, welcome to Paceacre. So, this is something you guys haven't seen yet. You might have caught a few glimpses of it in some of the other videos, but this is a storm cellar. And I'm going to take you guys through how I built this with minimal stuff. Okay? These things right here mostly, but I was able to borrow a tractor and this little digger, literally a little if you ever seen those commercials with the DR trimmer, little backhoe thing that's bumper pull, I dug this whole hole with one of them. And I'll tell you what, that was a very time consuming thing, but it was something I had available to me. So I was very grateful for it. Because otherwise, I would have literally had to dig it all by hand. But what you're seeing here is this is a storm cellar, but it's also going to be a root cellar. Once I get this completed with the earth and everything up on it, and I'll show you when we go inside how I had the ventilation set up, that the is going to also work as a root cellar, so we'll be able to store stuff in it, um, our root crops and things like that. This big ditch right here that runs over to another ditch, this is where I get to take you guys along. Okay, so in this video you're going to see I have some time lapse and some other things from when we built this thing. We built this in spring 25. um, if you want later on, you can let me know in the comments. I will do a full breakdown as far as how much it costs, like how much I actually spent out of pocket on this project. But did it completely by hand. The blocks are completely core filled. When we poured the roof on this, they are completely core filled, and with rebar that runs and ties into the slab. So, I mean, theoretically, this thing's kind of like a bomb shelter in a lot of ways. I mean, it's solid concrete full of rebar. Um, I hope you enjoyed this next part of the video as we go through everything. So, enjoy. All right, as you can see here, here's the hole dug, and that's the bedrock at the bottom right there, which was as deep as I could go. And then me and my little girl helped me set up the form for the concrete. Always put plastic down to make sure the moisture from the groundwater doesn't come up through, because it will. Concrete's porous and it'll come up through. We used those boards you see. I just drilled some holes in them just to hold my rebar all the way up. That way that there's consistent rebar from the slab all the way up into the block when the block wall started. Now all the concrete was mixed in this little tractor. I didn't really have the way to get the truck in there. Down there at the bottom where you see the tractor now, there's a really soft spot down there in front of that tree. So we mixed literally pallets of Quikrete. So here we go, we're almost done. Like I said, I just love having my little girl help me. And there's the finished product. It really turned out nice. Well, right here you see this is before I had that drain dug. Talk about a lot of water in there. But I got it drained. And now the block started. If I wouldn't have had my friend here help me, this would have taken literally probably more than twice as long. But we just kept stacking the block like you traditionally would. A basement wall, foundation, or what have you. Any of the places where there wasn't rebar, I had to cut a couple pieces, so then I just used a hammer drill, drilled the hole in the concrete, and then just drove down in there like you'd do a tie-in on a slab or something. The whole block laying process, that was 3 days. These time-lapse videos, that covered 2 full days of block, 2 long days at that. And of course it was hot. It was really hot during this time, but thankfully we had some shade. But you just keep going up, and you just measure and you figure out how big you want. And that's what I was saying. I made the slab to where it landed full blocks, so you just keep going back and forth. And I bought enough half blocks to finish off. Um, is it completely perfectly square and straight? No, we didn't use batten boards all the way up. But that being said, it is going to be buried. It is a storm cellar slash bomb cellar slash root cellar. Here's the form. That's above the door right there. See all that rebar? So I drilled through those blocks, and then when the lid was put on, all that's core filled. So it's just, anytime you do steel like that, you want to do continuous. And my the angle iron was mainly there so that I had something to screw that tin to that I used. Basically, that tin is only there for a form. Could use plywood here. You could have used, I mean, just use your imagination. But whatever you use, you got to remember, you're literally putting thousands and thousands of pounds of wet mud above that. So it's got to be able to support that. But that was welded solid. I didn't get any video of when I put that tin up. It's basically self-tapper screws from the bottom. And then here's where we're pouring the roof. Once again, I mean, is it perfect? No, but it's strong. Extremely strong. It's always better to build overkill. I didn't want to come back and wish I would have done something more. I will tell you also, you're going to want a vibrating tool to get that mud to go all the way down when you're core filling that high. See, this thing is about 7 feet tall. So that's a long ways for that mud to fall. And then, of course, that door, super heavy. Once I got to it. All right, so now that you guys kind of seen the build process, sped up, obviously, and I did have some help from one of my dear friends, thank goodness, because when you don't stack block every day, it's so slow. And that's not, I've done a lot of different things in the trades, but being a mason was not one of them. Like, I understand the principle of things, making things square, plumb, level, all those things, that's not a problem. But just physically stacking block, when you don't do it every day, that's where those guys really shine. So let's go ahead and take a look inside. Come on over here. So as you can see right here, let's stop right here for a second. So as you can see where these pallets are, this is a hole, and we're actually all the way down on the bedrock here. So this was as deep as I could dig without breaking out the bedrock. So we're sitting on the bedrock. So that's where all the water comes. So we're just up off that with the slab. I have some stuff. I'm going to build the French drain. First of all, I'm going to paint this. I've got some sealer, some membrane paint. I'm going to get this painted. Of course, we're in the middle of winter now, so that's making it tough. But I'm going to get this painted, and then we're going to build a French drain. And I'm going to show you guys how we do that, where everything's going to come together, and then it's going to be carried away. So the end result should have this thing dry. Now, this door is built out of 10 gauge, which is approximately 1/8 inch plate. And then this is 2x3, 3/16 wall tubing. So when I say this door is stout, it is stout. So come on over here. So if you guys remember, in one of my earlier videos, I told you guys I'm from Joplin, right? Well, Joplin is on the map from that big tornado. So I don't necessarily, it just made me a believer, let me say that way. So I knew that I had the ability to build something to keep my family safe. So this was really on the list. And this is about 10 by 12, approximately. I shrunk it down so that the blocks landed even, so that I wasn't cutting blocks on the perimeter. So I made it lay out with the blocks, so it's a little bit under 10 and I think a little bit under 12. But then if you come on in here, you can see that This is chicken house tin, and you've seen in the video how I use the pillars to hold this up. It would have held, but the main thing was just to keep any sag out of it. So when you suspend that like that with all the, I had the angle iron frame and all the rebar, and then with these pillars that I had all through here, that was just to keep it all flat. And then as everything cured, I mean, this thing is solid as all get out. So back to how the root cellar system will work. If you look in the corner, how this pipe runs all the way down, and it has that hole there. So now the cool air will fall, okay? Cool air is going to fall back here. That's going to be in contact with the earth. So the cool air is going to fall, and then it's going to circulate, and then over here in this corner is where it will all be able to go out. So come on back here just a little bit, and you can take a look at this door. This door is, like I said, 10 gauge. I made the jamb is also at a 10 gauge. I went ahead and welded it solid. I could have skip welded this. It didn't need this much weld. But it's bolted through here. And then I have this thing hinged. And then when this door shuts, got double bolts. So if there was ever a big giant storm, it would have to rip this whole wall off. Very unlikely. But this is just kind of a little preview. There's a lot more work to do on this cellar, mainly with the French drain. And then, of course, once we get the French drain, once I got that ditch dug right, because you've seen in the video where this thing was flooded. But once I got that ditch dug all the way up there, like that, for now, this works. And then, like I said, some people might say, I can't believe you're showing it in this shape. Well, the whole purpose of this channel is to be authentic is the number one thing. And of course, hopefully bring some of you guys to Jesus if you don't know him. But also is to show you, because this is real life. This is not something, I didn't pay people to do this. This is something that I've done when I've had the time, when I've had the resources, and kind of make things down the list of what's your priority. Where are you at? What's the number one thing you need? And as we go on, I hope this is, like I've said in the previous videos, I hope this has encouraged some of you guys. I hope it just maybe one person that sees this can be like, you know what? I can do that too. Don't have to be this big. It could be a lot bigger. It doesn't matter. It could set flat on the ground. If you don't have a hillside, it could still work as a storm cellar. You can build closets like this in your house. It's just endless. But this is just another one of these videos where I'm going to continue to show you guys what we're doing, what we've done, what we have to do. And I hope you guys enjoy the content. And if you do, make sure to share it, like, subscribe, tell your friends about it, because at the end of the day, I just want to give you guys that little nudge that you need to kind of chase down your dreams and do the things that you've had on your mind and your heart. But for now, remember, feed your critters, love your neighbor, follow Jesus. Have a great day.